sleep, where nightmares and the macabre come to life, stealing your sleep for another week. Join us in the graveyard as we find the cause of death.
Welcome to RIP Sleep. My name is Travis, and joined with me, as always, is my main man, Robert.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a very thankful and happy Thanksgiving.
Don't listen to him; he lies. For this week, we're not talking about horror movies, because we were going to talk about the horror movie Thanksgiving that came out last year, and some unforeseen things ended up happening and making it so that I wasn't able to rewatch the movie, and it's been a long time since I've seen it, so I wanted to rewatch it. So instead, we're going to talk about other horror media that Robert and I consume on a somewhat regular basis that we also really enjoy.
Yeah.
Uh,
But can we start off by saying how physical media should be forever and Netflix is a bitch?
oh yeah, no, I completely agree. Netflix sucks, but also at the same time, please sponsor us.
No,
uh,
no, I will refuse every single time.
I know. No, I agree. Physical media is by far superior. Um, that being said, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold going on. I feel like for the first topic that we should talk about of other horror media that you and I consume very regularly, I would say horror games. Robert and I both play a lot of horror video games. Honestly, I feel like I might play them more often than you. I don't think I've played this same amount that you have.
I would say that a big thing with me is I kind of fell out of horror games towards that like mid 2010s into the late 2010s era, just because a lot of like the Outlast success kind of created a lot of games that were essentially walking simulators.
That's fair.
A lot of a lot of games that were inspired by that um just kind of turned me off because I was like, oh, okay, I'm just kind of walking, and all I can do when I'm confronted with an obstacle is run away.
That that is fair. So Robert, I do have to ask, do you want to talk about just like specifically horror games, like games that are labeled as horror games, or games that have horror elements in them as well?
I think games that also have horror elements are a good topic to talk about today because I feel that some of the better like horror coded games serve just as well as just regular horror games.
You know what? I completely agree with you on that. I love the horror coded games. First game that I want to talk about that I really like, that I have told you that you should play, and now you have the ability to play it. Choo Choo Charles. It is such a stupid game, but it's so good.
That's fair. I will say though that I'm liking how the current like indie devs in horror are shifting themselves away from the Outlast and Amnesia style of gameplay, and they're kind of going around to uh different methods of gameplay. Like Choo Choo Charles, like there's there's points where you're helpless and you can't fight back, but then there are points where you have the ability to, like when you're on the train compared to when you're on foot.
Yes. And like honestly, for me, growing up watching like Thomas the Train, like that kind of stuff, um, and then playing a game called Choo Choo Charles, which is essentially a demon train chasing you around and you have to kill it. I love it. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's horrifying, and I fucking adore it. It
That's
brings me
fair.
that weird. It's like a weird nostalgia that I get from it.
That's very fair. Oh,
Uh,
excuse me.
so another game that you and I have played together, just you and me, because none of our other friends want to get the game. Skur Ritual. I feel like we really got to talk
Yes.
about that game.
Yeah, so I feel like this kind of we can talk about something before because this game is heavily inspired by the Black Ops series, the zombie modes from the Black Ops series of Call of Duty games. Because it's round based, it's all just round based zombies with Easter eggs, and there is an objective but you don't need it to make progression because you have it's progression either of how many rounds can you go, or do you want to try to progress to get the Easter egg done?
Yeah, like the story
Which
mission.
I like. Yeah, I like that because that gives you options on how you want to play the game. There's multiple builds that you kind of have that you can work towards in each mission and level.
I completely
You've played
agree.
it. You've played it more than I have, so you have a bit more experience with the maps outside the first one because my ego won't let me go on to the next mission next level until I can beat the first one.
That's fair. I have played a fair amount of this game. I was literally playing it earlier today. Um and like Robert said, it's a round-based zombie shooter game. Um but the thing that I really like about it is that like you still have like the different kinds of zombies like they do in like Left 4 Dead. Like you have
Yeah.
like the special types of zombies that you have to deal with, and you have rounds that you have to specifically deal with them. And I know that it's the same thing in Black Ops Zombies. But like by far out of all of the different zombies that you can have to deal with in this game, the one that I hate the most is the freaking what the hell is it called? I don't know, the laser beam bitch.
Oh, the dude with the old
The dude with the old scuba
Doctor's
helmet on. Yeah, I hate
Yeah.
him. I hate him so much.
I love his design, but it
Oh,
does
I
hit
love the
quite.
design. The design is so good, but he hits like a goddamn train.
He hits like a train. I feel like it's less that he hits like a train. It's the biggest issue is when you get later into the latter rounds, more of them will spawn. And on the first map, there can be some quite tight spaces where it gets quite hard to avoid their laser shots on you. Because not only are you trying to avoid them, you're avoiding the exploder ones, which get too close to you, will just blow up. And then if you're on round ending in 5, you have Big Boy, don't remember his name, who pops up ready to stomp your shit in.
So each map there he has a different name because it's a different enemy for each map that you get the big for the big boy. The first map is Abraham. I know that. And then the second map is Isaac. Beyond that, I'm not sure what the names are for the rest of them past there. But 100%, if you guys have not played this game, highly recommend it. You can get it on Steam if you play on computers. Whoa. Okay. Well, there's a little bit of the audio for it for you guys. I didn't mean to play that, but it's fine. 100% recommend this game. It's so good. So much fun.
But when it comes to horror coded games, I feel like a big one that we can talk for quite a bit of time going on right now would have to be, just because of how much like gothic inspiration goes into it, Elden Ring.
Oh my god. Don't get me on Elden Ring.
I'm going to just a little bit here, okay?
Because
it may not be my favorite Soulsborne game.
Oh, it's mine.
Yeah.
But that's purely because I haven't played Bloodborne.
Yeah. Bloodborne's my favorite. God. And here's a hoping with Sony about to purchase the parent company to FromSoft that we might get a PC port, or at least an updated port to modern consoles of Bloodborne that's not locked to 30 frames per second. You bastards, unlock it.
Calm down. It's all right. No, Elden Ring 100%. There's a lot of gothic like imagery and design in that game. And like the enemies in the game, I love the enemies in the game. I know that you haven't played the DLC yet, so I won't spoil anything for you. I've played through the DLC. I've played through the entirety of the game 4 times. And I've played through the DLC once. So there is just the way that the characters are designed, the way that the enemies are designed, the like different things that you have to fight and beat to progress to the next level. Beautiful. And I can't tell you the amount of times I was literally shitting my pants in fear because I thought I was gonna die.
Damn.
It's a amazing game. Another one I highly recommend, but that's because it's my favorite Souls-like.
Fair enough. You also got to spread out a bit more because that's like you played that one and you probably only touched a little bit of Dark Souls 1, right?
Yeah, I've played Dark Souls 1 and I've played Elden Ring. Elden Ring was also the first Souls-like game that I played
Yeah.
because I just never really had access to them until I got my PC, and then I just was like, I don't need to play it. I don't need to play it. And then one of our friends bought it for me for my birthday, so I was like, well, I guess I'll play it, and then I ended up loving it.
Yeah. That's how most people go for those games.
Yeah, I know. So I
It,
feel
it,
like
it really shows the masochist in everybody who play
oh,
who likes
absolutely.
them.
Absolutely. Um I feel like a next or another good one to talk about that I have experience with, I don't think you do, is Poppy's Playtime. Uh
Yeah, I
which
know. I
which
don't have
is
anything on that.
yeah, it's a horror puzzle game, and you're trying to like make your way through this old toy factory while getting chased by this giant blue thing called Fuzzy Wuzzy and all of his friends. And I hate it. I hate it. It is the thing of nightmares. I hate his face. He scares me, and I want him to go away.
Is its name really Fuzzy Wuzzy?
Yes. Its name is Fuzzy
This
Wuzzy, and then there's Lady Longlegs. There's a couple other ones. I don't know all the characters' names. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up because I want to talk about it. Puppy's Playtime.
because this is like mascot horror, right? Because this is the blue dude, right?
Yeah,
The blue the blue lengthy guy. That honestly, it's another thing. That's one thing I do dislike about some horror games, and because I guess in our when we were younger, like FNAF was kind of marketed towards us. At least it started to get marketed towards kids when we were like in middle school when the games first came out.
yeah,
Uh, but you know, the Five Nights at Freddy's was kind of first to do it, and then I feel like a lot of other games that became mascot horror started like hopping on the trend. Personally, my favorite when it was in development and how promising it looked was Hello Neighbor.
that's fair.
Mostly because I was so intrigued by how the AI worked in that game. Like, 'cause it was an AI that would learn from your mistakes after you get caught. So if you like try to break a window, it would start setting up traps either near the window or boarding up the windows. It would and basically do a lot of different things like that. The final product didn't turn out as well as I think many people thought it was going to, but I was really hoping that we would get something that would truly try to like start challenging you based on your mistakes, forcing you to take different routes and how to approach the obstacle at hand.
Gotcha. So, I found all the names of all the different characters
Oh no.
in Poppy's Playtime. So it is Huggy Wuggy. He's a blue character with long arms and a big mouth. Then there's Huggy Wuggy's counterpart, Kissy Missy, a pink Huggy Wuggy with a bow and lipstick. Then there's Cat Bee, a yellow cat with a bee stinger and wings. Candy Cat, a purple cat with candy cane stripes and a lollipop. Brawn, a red dinosaur with horns and spikes. Boogie Bot, a green robot with claws and speakers. And Mommy Longlegs, a giant spider-like creature with a doll's head.
Oh, I don't like mommy long legs.
I don't like it either, but it's something that exists.
Oh no.
Hey, let's be fair, Robert. You and I know somebody that would like Mommy Longlegs.
That's fair. That's fair.
uh,
Oh god.
I mean, there's so many horror games that you and I have played throughout the years. I feel like one that we should mention because it was really popular for a little while, Phasmophobia. You know, hunting ghosts with your friends is fun. I do completely agree with you that Metaphysical is just a better version of that game.
The only reason I say metaphysical is better, even though it's net code or whatever is not the greatest and needs work, and the fact that every time it has to update, I'm not sure what they're doing, but these are like almost 20 gigabyte updates. But for those who ever watch the show Supernatural out there that are listening to this the game Metaphysical is very, very inspired by it.
Extremely.
Entire
You literally drive around in the Impala.
Yeah. And well, you don't get to drive it, but it works as the game hub and menu, and it's where you kind of hold. It's where you also hold all your tools, utilities, and weapons as you kind of go around hunting ghosts. It does need a little polish, and you can tell that a big inspiration not only from Metaphysical is Phasmophobia, where the entire point is, it's a horror game meant to be played with friends, where you get to go hunt ghosts.
Yeah. Which
without fighting back. I always thought that premise was funny. It's like you basically just have to identify the ghost and then you dip.
Yeah.
You don't do anything about it. You just say it's just like, hey folks, we know you paid us. Here's what it is.
Okay,
what are you gonna do about it? Bye.
Yeah, literally. Honestly, it's such a stupid premise that was the whole goal of the game, but I kind of also love it.
It is quite funny. It's even funnier to think about if someone dies in mission, because it's like, oh, by the way, one of my teammates,
ghost now.
You have another ghost. His body's still in your basement. Bye.
Literally, it's so good. It's so good.
Drive before the cops get here.
So another one that you brought up that I'll touch on quick because I've played all of them was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
For those who don't know,
that's why they're all now in the Steam family.
Yeah. For those who don't know about Five Nights at Freddy's, go do some research. It's been out for so long. You should at least know what it is by now.
If you're on the internet, you know what it is.
Yeah. But specifically, I don't want to talk about like the original games, like the early ones. I want to talk about the newest one, Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit. This game is so good. It came out this year. It's a 8-bit like game. It's not like it's not like you're sitting in an office the whole time like in the original games. You're a kid it's based in the future after the events of like the Bite of 87 or whatever it is. Like after the events of Five Nights at Freddy's, like what happened, the whole thing with Purple Guy, all that shit. It happens like way after that, and you're a kid that is like dropped off at Jeff's Pizza, aka the now bought out version of Freddy Fazbear's, and you get dropped off there by your dad. Well, your dad goes to work. I don't know why the hell that's where he would drop you off, like at some pizza restaurant, but like, whatever, to each his own. But so then you end up going into the ball pit there, and it transports you through time to the night that everything happened at Five Nights at FNAF.
Got it.
Like overall, it's really cool. You have to solve puzzles, you have to deal with things, you have to do this, you have to do that, like to get through stuff. And like the whole point of the game is you have to deal with Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica, like the three main ones from Five Nights at Freddy's. But then you're also dealing with the Yellow Rabbit or Springtrap, whatever you want to call him. And he kidnaps your dad, and you're basically just trying to get your dad back.
Dang.
Overall, really good game. A lot of fun to play. Highly recommend it, especially to you, Rob. Even though I know you're not the biggest Five Nights at Freddy's fan, I feel like you would still enjoy it.
And you said this was Into the Pit, right?
Yeah, Five Nights at Freddy's Into the Pit.
Got it. Yeah, and this is like a 2D style game, correct?
Yeah,
it's the one.
Yeah, it's like it's a 2D like 8-bit type game. It's
that's quite the change in like genre for the games to go into.
Oh, even absolutely. The biggest change that they had was when they released Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, because that was the first game that it wasn't, like you actually like moved around. You went through the whole area. You didn't just like sit in one spot and just stop them from getting to you.
Yeah. Well, I would argue at that point, everyone that the VR games would have been actually the first one to break the mold. Because
that is true.
Just because, you're not really moving around, and like from a designated spot, you're kind of confined to a specific area. But there's more to look around and to observe in the VR games. But that's still from a first person perspective.
Yeah.
Along with the Security Breach game and its DLC, whatever it was called.
Reach. or Ruin.
Ruin, yeah. So they're all like first person perspective games, but you know, I feel like kind of switching to a third person perspective, watching watching the movements and stuff of a character you're playing is also quite interesting too for that series.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I really liked it. Honestly, I thought that Five Nights at Freddy's pretty much fell off. Um, then the movie came out, and that's something that we'll probably talk about at some point. Um,
At some point.
uh, probably after the second movie comes out next year.
Oh god, yeah, they are doing a second movie.
Yeah. But
Good.
I pretty much thought that the gaming aspect of it pretty much fell off. But then they came out with Into the Pit, and I had no idea that they were even making another Five Nights at Freddy's game.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that either. I feel like that was the kind of I don't think there's any real marketing for it. To be fair, Scott Cawthon has been kind of like a I don't think he needs too much marketing because he kind of built up the games off of just like kind of dropping them like out of nowhere.
Yeah, that is true. Also, like you can tell that like the change in it was extremely drastic, because like the my first introduction to like Into the Pit was when Markiplier played it.
Yeah.
And like he just has it labeled like on his YouTube channel, he just has it labeled as Into the Pit, not Five Nights at Freddy's. So I thought it was just a inspired game of Five Nights at Freddy's. But then like I like looked it up because I was like, oh, this actually kind of looks good, and I realized, oh my god, this is an actual Five Nights at Freddy's game.
Yeah, that's. I feel like that's how a lot of people kind of thought about it too. Again, it's a game. I feel like Into the Pit was the big title, whereas Five Nights at Freddy's like some games will market it themselves under the second name and have that be the big part of the marketing, and then the series name is kind of secondary to it.
Yeah, because like even on like the title art for it, Into the Pit is really big and bold, and Five Nights at Freddy's is just smaller above it.
I'll look it up real quick on Steam.
Let's see
Pit.
what else.
Oh, don't want to have that going in my ears right now. yeah. Like I'm looking at it right now. The Five Nights at Freddy's is in a white font, smaller than Into the Pit, and then in the pit it's a very brightish color, kind of dragging your attention directly towards it.
Yeah, and that's something that I feel like it definitely, and like you get like even just like seeing the little trailer that they have, like you can see like how this game looks, and I really like how it looks. It's really cool. And like on top of it, like the big thing with Five Nights at Freddy's is that like after like in the second game, I think is when when they started doing it. They started doing like the mini games in between nights.
Yeah. The second game's where that started happening.
Yeah, you actually so like Into the Pit, when you're in like the future area, like your time period area, you can actually fix the old games, like the old arcade games, and you can play them inside of the game.
Yo,
which is kind of cool.
That is really cool to add that in there. Yeah, because the big thing about the mini games where they were kind of were the Easter egg inside of the second game. You had to play those to get. You had to die to play those. To kind of get part of the story, even though at that time the story was scattered brained as all hell.
Oh yeah.
All I'm saying is MatPat, I felt like kind of started helping Scott Cawthon fill that story, and maybe not directly, but Scott was like, "Oh, that's what he said. Alrighty, I guess that's what's happening."
Yeah, literally. Like I definitely agree with you on that. I feel like MatPat definitely helped like push the theories of it.
Yeah, he's probably the only reason why I even understand a lick of the story.
Yeah, honestly, me too. I can't tell you the amount of times that I just sat down and watched the like MatPat lore videos.
Yeah, so he's the only reason I think I can understand a lot the only reason I think I could understand a lot of stuff that was going around on the internet and like the horror community and the analog horror stuff at that time.
That's fair. What game do you want to talk about next? I feel like I've talked about a couple. I feel like
Yeah,
it's
that's
your
fair.
turn.
One that I've actually been playing currently that I'm quite liking quite a bit is The Evil Within, the first one that came out in like 2014, I think.
Oh yeah, I saw that you've been playing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I haven't beat it yet, but you can tell that this game had at the time this game was trying to do like the third person Resident Evil style of game survival horror gameplay. So like kind of like Resident Evil like 4, 5 and 6 style. But it also kind of has this homage of paying homage to the films of like Saw and other kind of like grittier film like horror films at the time, because the entire game, maybe it's not the best for a long time of playing. It's all like a 16:9 aspect ratio, so there's black bars at the top and bottom of the screen during gameplay, which feels a little weird because it kind of narrows your vision. But I guess that's a part of the horror of it too, because it kind of makes you like feel like, all right, I can't look in one spot at one time because I have to kind of keep checking my surroundings because I can only see like a certain percentage of the screen.
Yeah.
Apparently
I
that's
kinda
gone away in
like
the
that,
second
though.
game. Yeah, apparently it's gone in the second game, but it I think it's fine. I wish it was adjustable. You know, I wish I could, even if it means it has to like zoom the gameplay in more. I wish it was adjustable so I could like make the black bars a little smaller towards the top and bottom of the screen. But you know, it's fine to play right now. A big thing about it is I was going to try to go through all the achievements until I saw that there was a speedrunning achievement, which requires you to beat the game in 5 hours or less.
Oh my god.
I'm not a fast player. I like to observe and look at the pretty surroundings.
That's fair. I'm not a fast player for games either. Like there's a couple games that like I've played through the whole game in like a sitting. But they were like
Choo Choo
overall,
Charles.
yeah, Choo Choo Charles I played through the whole game in one sitting. Uh and like Little Nightmares, the first time I played through that game, I played through the whole game in one sitting. Um
I
and
still
it's
haven't played either of those games.
the Little Nightmares games.
Yeah, I haven't played those yet.
There's a third one coming out.
Oh,
I really want to play the second one. I still haven't. It's one of the games that I've been looking forward to playing. But Little Nightmares, I really like this game. Like this game is definitely, to me, it's a horror game. Cause like you have no idea what's happening. You don't know what's going on. Why are you so much smaller than all of these other people? Why do they want to kill you? Why do they want to eat you? Like what the hell is happening? It's so good though.
I always looked at it from the gameplay, so I was like, did someone make a horror game version of Little Big Planet?
Honestly, kinda. Like you're this little kid trapped in a fucking like trapped on a ship, and you have to like make your way through this area. I don't even know what the whole base premise of the game is, and I've played through the game. Because you don't know what the goal is. The goal is just to survive. And to survive, you just have to keep moving. Like, that is the goal. But there's so much lore that goes into this game. And I still don't get it. And I've played through this game like 5 times.
Damn.
And I don't understand. I'm so confused. But I highly recommend playing it because it was a lot of fun. Even though, like, I still don't know what the heck is going on.
That's fair. That's very fair. But you know, so like Evil Within's good, and it kind of goes back to like some of the first horror games that I feel like I played when I was much younger. Which it was, one of the first ones I remember playing was Resident Evil 4. Growing up with an older sibling who also played games, she would kind of just let me sit there and watch when the games were like a bit a bit harder for probably 7-year-old me could manage. But I do remember playing the first level of Resident Evil 4 quite a bit when I was around that age, not knowing what I was supposed to be doing entirely.
Yeah, I get that because like I look back on it and like looking back on like how I used to play games when I was younger, And then I look at how I play games now, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so like I play so much more efficiently because I'm cognitive enough to know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing.
Oh gosh. Listen, I feel like a big thing was like as a kid, you're always like kind of restarting the game over and over again because once the game started like introducing new obstacles, you didn't play. One as a kid, I was like, I don't like reading books, so why should I read what the tutorial's telling me to do?
Yeah, like this isn't a horror game, but like in homage to what you're saying, Borderlands 1. I have finished that game a total of like twice, I think. But I have done the starting the starting missions, like the beginning of that game, hundreds of times. Because
Yeah,
I would like go over to one of our friends' houses and I'd play it with them, and then he would bring the game over to my house, and then we would have to restart because our characters aren't there. And then we'd go back to his place and we're like, oh, well, these characters suck. Let's do these. Let's change the characters. And we just go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and just never actually play through the game. The first Borderlands game I actually played through and actually like entirely finished was Borderlands 2.
damn.
Cause like,
That sounds about right. Yeah.
Because it was just like, I got to a point and I was like, but I want to try something different. What if I like one of the other classes? And then I'd like go to the other class. And then I'd be like, oh, I don't like this. Oh, I by accident deleted my other character. Well, I guess I'm starting again. I know how to do the entire beginning of Borderlands 1 with my eyes closed at this point.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like I didn't get into the Borderlands series until the second game. So, and then I played the first game like probably after playing through the pre-sequel.
The pre-sequel is just I did not like the pre-sequel. I don't know if it was just me. I just was really not a fan of it. I feel like it wasn't
I don't think it's definitely not just you in that game. That I feel like that's probably the most I would say it was probably the most divisive game in the series until 3 came out, because I know there's a pretty good faction of people out there who don't really care for 3 at all.
Yeah. And now we have Borderlands 4 coming out allegedly next year.
Boy.
Hee-hee-ha. That's going to make or break the series.
Nah, it'll make a shit ton of money.
Oh yeah, it's gonna make a shit ton of money. But I mean, like, either it's gonna do really well and like the series is gonna keep going, or it's gonna flop really hard.
At this point, as long as it makes enough money, they don't care if the game's perceived good or bad.
That's fair. So I want to talk about a game. I haven't played this game, but I really want to. I just haven't bought it for myself yet. Do you remember Duck Hunt? Like,
Yeah.
the really old game on like the Atari or some shit.
Uh-huh.
They made a VR game inspired by Duck Hunt
Oh, I think I know what you're talking
called
about.
Duck Season. It is
Yeah.
like
Yeah, but
it is so weird, and I want to play it so bad because essentially like the dog from the game becomes real and tries to murder your family.
oh god.
It is the craziest shit. I want to play it so bad, and the only reason that I haven't yet is because it is a VR game, and they don't have it ported for Oculus Quests.
You could just get a USB and buy the game on Steam and play it that way.
Yeah, I know. I just need to get a longer cord because I don't have a long enough cord. Also, you've seen how my desk is set up, where it's set up. I don't have room to play that in my room.
That's fair. That's fair. Your room is quite small.
Yeah. But I really want to play that game. It is so weird and freaky, and I want to play it so bad. I just need to get the game. But like there's so many other games. There's so many like horror games. I could sit and talk about horror games for hours cuz there's just so fucking many of them that I have played, that I want to play, that I'm looking forward to, that I've played so much that I know the entire game inside and out.
That's fair. Speaking of ones to look forward to, are there any that haven't come out yet that you're kind of looking forward to playing?
um maybe uh
Because one that I've seen a trailer for that I'm excited to play. It's not full horror. It's a horror coded game, but it's called Bloody Hell Hotel.
oh my god, I've been waiting for that game to come out.
Yeah, essentially think of Hotel Transylvania, uh, but you're a vampire who has a hotel for people, and the whole point is you gotta balance making money with feasting on people and not getting caught.
Oh, there was one game that I really wanted to play. What the hell was the name of it? Give me a second. Um it's a really odd game. It's called Life Eater.
Life Eater.
So essentially, um you play as a guy that is that communes with a god of such, and you basically have to stalk people and then kidnap them and kill them. And if you don't, then bad things
Okay.
happen.
Okay, I think I've seen some of the gameplay for this before. You kind of have to stalk people's schedule, correct?
Yeah, you have to like stalk their schedule, learn their schedule, and once you learn enough of it, you can you can kidnap them and abduct them. And then you have to learn stuff when you're um when you're stalking them, because they like you have to answer questions. Like you have to be like, is this person over a certain age? What color was their hair? What, you know, do they drive to work every day? Are they armed? Like that kind of stuff. This game looks really cool. It came out in April of this year, and I really, really want to play it.
Fair enough, fair enough. But and then I just feel like I feel like we're gotten to a point where indie games relatively are kind of like the place to turn to for horror,
Oh yeah, I
just because
agree.
they're the ones that are kind of diving a bit more into the experimental territory for horror games. One that I've been ooh, like Doki Doki. I feel like was a big game that kind of did it, like a horror game disguised as kind of the cute romance visual novel.
Are you talking about?
Another
Yeah,
one.
you're talking about the Doki Doki Anomaly game that was bought for me, and I still haven't played it.
No, the Doki Doki Literature Club. That's what I was talking about.
Oh, well, I have a game that our dear friend Diaz bought for me. It's the Doki Doki Anomaly Dating Simulator.
That oh, he
And
did buy that,
yeah,
didn't he?
he bought me that for us all to play it together, to voice the characters,
Oh
and
God,
I'm terrified for it.
we gotta finish something first before that gets
Yeah,
anywhere close.
let's not out us like that.
Yeah, that's still like 5 years down the road until it's done.
Yeah, it'll be a long time before we finish that game.
Yeah. Trying to think of some other games out there right now that have been seeming interesting. Oh, there's one that was another Phasmophobia type that is multiplayer. It's called The Hauntings, except it's a bit more like uh, uh, Devour, a game that we've also played together,
Okay.
but where it's a 4-player co-op game, and the entire point is you have to go into the house. Instead of being satanic cult members trying to conjure a demon its powers, you're there to exorcise the ghost or a demon.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and it's not out yet. I'm not sure. I don't think they released any time frame for when it's going to be coming out. But it's another Phasmophobia inspired game, but it's heavy toward. It has a bit more of a heavy, gritty kind of look to it, and instead of kind of being the I don't know how to categorize this. Not nearly as campy, I guess, as Phasmophobia, and not. I think Devour's more campy in its
Yeah,
sense because there's points where you're chasing goats around.
literally, yes. I do agree. It is kind
Oh.
of campy. I really enjoyed Devour though, the couple times that
Oh.
we've played it.
I do too, because the problem with horror games is multiplayer games is you can't really go for that full horror experience because nothing's gonna be really that scary when you're just kind of lounging around and like talking shit with your friends on a game, and you're there. All four of you are just insulting a fucking ghost just to see
Yeah.
what would happen.
Literally, and we can use the like Lethal Company as an example. You know, a horror game that came out, you go and you find scrap and you bring it back and try not to die. There is more jokes and like stupid funny shit that has come out of that game for our friendship, for our friend group, than anything scary.
That is very true.
And I could say the same thing because I played Content Warning the other night with a couple of our friends. That game's not scary at all either.
Oh yeah, I've seen gameplay of that where you get to literally record your friends do some of the stupidest in-game stuff ever.
Yeah, I have like, and the one thing that I do enjoy from it is like you have to like you're trying to get views on your YouTube channel essentially of like scary stuff. You can save the videos that you make in that game to your computer.
Oh no.
So I have them. I'm gonna send you the ones that I have. They are funny as hell.
Hey yo, buy the Patreon to see exclusive content, people.
Yeah, right? We don't have a Patreon yet. Oh my god.
Will we ever?
Maybe one day. Another game that I've really wanted to rebuy specifically so I can play it on my PC. I want to get The Last of Us again.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that the first time that I played it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And it's just that's one of the games that I really want to get again.
I remember I played that game quite a bit because it was the only game I had when I first got a PS4. So it was like it was that game and Grand Theft Auto 5 that I had for like I want to say like 3 to 4 months, and those are the only games I played.
Yeah.
On it for that extended period of time. So I feel like I got a very big full of playing it, and that was I didn't have reliable internet, so that's me just kind of replaying the story mode over and over again.
That's fair. I mean, I played a lot like when we all played on PS4s before we all upgraded to computers. Like we played a ton of GTA 5.
Oh, we did.
Like a
I miss
ton
it.
of that game. So do I. I miss it too. And you know, hopefully GTA 6 will be decent and we can play that.
Fucking Rockstar. Still not letting me transfer my character from the PS.
Yes, please,
Or to
Rockstar, let us
PC.
transfer our characters from PS4 to PC.
I won't be as nice, you fucking cowards.
You know what? That too. Another horror game that I really liked. It was more of a story horror game, but I really liked Until Dawn.
Oh yeah, no, Until Dawn was quite a fun experience.
It really was,
but-
because like you do one thing trying to help one person, but then it fucks somebody else over. I love that kind of stuff.
But you know what's even funnier is the games that studio made later. The Dark Pictures series, which you can play with friends.
Oh yeah, and I've played it with our friend Diaz.
And I also played a couple of them with him as well. And some of the shit you can say when you're playing with co-op is fucking hilarious.
It is so good. It's so good.
Because it's not just your choice that determines the story. Having some other dumbass there doesn't help anybody.
No, it does not. And that's like that kind of stuff I love for like story games like that. Like I played through Franbo, which is another horror game. It's like a not really top over. It's more of a 2D horror game, but that has 3D elements in it. But it's a lot of fun. It's about a little girl that's fucking insane. And she sees demons and dead people and shit. Lot of fun, super messed up. But like it's a single player game, so I can't have any of that fun of playing it with another person and watching everything go crazy.
Yeah. People, start listening to us so me and Travis can live stream us playing an entire playthrough. We're
Hell
desperate.
yeah. That would be fun. We could definitely do that at some point if we get more people to listen.
I'm not sure it's multiplayer, but because the amount of time I spent on it, Dead by Daylight, which is now branching out into other categories with some new games. They released their own version of that choose your adventure style game, which doesn't have I don't think any of the original characters in it, but it's called The Casting of Frank Stone.
See, I played Dead by Daylight with you a couple times. I was never the biggest fan of it.
It's not for everyone. But here's the thing: at the time, it's the only game where people could play some of their favorite horror movie icons, such as Michael Myers, Ghostface, Leatherface.
That is
outside
fair.
of Freddy Krueger, outside of the odd use of them in Mortal Kombat games. But not everybody's a fighting fan.
You know what? I still appreciate that, in Mortal Kombat X, we can play as Jason and Leatherface. And the Xenomorph.
Fair. Yeah. And it's not even, I don't think it's technically fully a Xenomorph either, because the entire point always bugged me, because I believe in the lore it's supposed to have a different name based on the species the chest burst or the face hugger lays an egg in.
Yeah, it's a Xenomorph.
It's a Xenomorph, but it popped out of the chest of a Baraka. So basically, the Xenomorph got to replace Baraka inside of a Mortal Kombat game with a few extra moves. But
just a few, yeah. They can spit acid and that kind of stuff. Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. But hey, we got Ghostface in the newest Mortal Kombat game, which I heard the newest Mortal Kombat game is not doing that great.
Yeah, but I have seen the brutalities for Ghostface. They're kind of great.
They are great, with some very specific references. Like,
oh yeah, like
the one I saw first is the one that's directly from 5 with Dewey.
Yeah, they have. I saw one where the people that were playing, they were playing Ghostface versus Ghostface, and he literally says in it, like one of them walks out and goes, "Hey Billy, is that you?" And he goes, "Yes, Stu, it's me. It's your turn to die." I was like, okay, so I appreciate that they're using, like, for those kind of lines, they're using like base beginning of Scream, like beginning of Ghostface.
Yeah.
But then they do kills, and they do kills that match up with later movies, and I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense.
I think it makes enough sense because I find it quite funny.
Oh yeah, I like it. I enjoy it. I find it very funny. Speaking of Ghostface, I just saw the Dead by Daylight Ghostface DLC.
Yeah. Listen, I'll respect him because it's not the Ghostface from Dead by Daylight, but because they were partnered with Fun World, or whatever the hell the name of the company is that owns the costume Ghostface.
Yeah.
And it's not anywhere related to the movie Scream. They kind of came up with their own backstory of their own original killer, and he kind of has his own neat little drip in the game for his base costume.
That's fair.
And it's not the regular dark cloak. It's him kind of wearing like almost a tactile Ghostface, and it's kind of cool.
See, so like, thinking about like Ghostface and like, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Leatherface, like that kind of stuff. They made like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. They made the Friday the 13th game. I think we need a Ghostface game. Like,
I guess it could relatively work well within the genre. I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's called starts with an A.
I have no idea.
Asymmetrical horror games, because
Sure.
it's it's uneven sided teams against one another. And the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the family who are the killers, there are 3 of them versus 4 survivors, I believe. It's been a while since I played it. Dead by Daylight, 1 killer, 4 survivors. The only one, there was the Friday the 13th game, which was my favorite, and I think it did the best because it was just fun instead of trying to be a competitive and balanced game, which was 1 versus 8, I think.
Yeah. You could have up to eight camp counselors versus Jason.
Yeah.
Which I really liked that game too. I remember when you finally got me to get that game, and you and I would play it every once in a while. Then we started playing it a little bit more, and then they had the whole lawsuit thing, and then the whole game just kind of fell, and I was really sad about it.
Yeah. Biggest disappointment when it came to that game, or the asymmetric games, is when that one went away, because then it left Dead by Daylight without any competition, quote unquote. So Dead by Daylight kind of got stale and didn't really have to try as hard. And then other games tried coming in to compete, and then the toxicity of the Dead by Daylight fan base would start killing it, because they would ask for, we want something new, something different. You get something new and different, and they would complain that Dead by Daylight is better.
Yeah. That's definitely something that, like, irritated me. It really hurt when they were like, yeah, Friday the 13th game isn't a thing anymore. So sad about it. So sad.
But, now going back to the idea about indie games doing things now, there's Retro Realms Arcade, which came out recently, and they are akin to the kind of spiritual successors to the Slaughterhouse games, where they're 2D side-scrolling beat-em-up games, where they have the game is kind of like 2 separate parts. You have one where you get to play as Michael Myers and Laurie Strode on Halloween, and the other one where you get to play as Ash from the Evil Dead series and another character from the Evil Dead series as well.
That's fair.
So those look interesting. Haven't got to play them yet, but I will hopefully at some point.
Hopefully. So I feel like that is a pretty good spot to wrap this episode up. It's a little bit of a shorter episode, but it's also Thanksgiving, and we just wanted to still put something out, but didn't want to go through the whole thing of me not knowing anything about this movie that we were going to originally talk about today.
Yeah.
So
if we're going to put out fluffy bullshit, we're going to put out things that we know that are fluffy bullshit.
Exactly. So, Robert, you want to sign us off?
Yes. So, to all of you who have joined us on this wonderful day, Thanksgiving, we thank you very much. We hope you have a wonderful dinner tonight. Say hello, and to those that you love, and have a wonderful night. We thank you for joining us, and have a good day, everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Happy Thanksgiving.